Welcome to Engine Adventure's off-road review of the 2020 Mazda CX-30. This is the premium package with all-wheel drive. So for high-speed off-road driving, basically that's a no. This thing is low and designed for driving on the road. I mean, it's not terrible off-road. It's got that off-road mode, gives you a little more capability, but really it's not made for cruising real fast down these roads. Other off-road oriented vehicles, I can easily do 20 miles an hour plus on this. I'm around 10 and having to slow down at some points even below that. So while it is okay if you're running down a few fire roads and Forest Service roads and whatever that are well maintained, but once you get into the rough stuff, this thing is not really meant for that. It can get you to your camping ground down a little dirt road, but I wouldn't do much beyond that. Clearly not an off-roader, and that's fine. The on-road driving characteristics of this thing are so good that I'm willing to take that compromise. Let's go. We're gonna see if we can do that steep hill climb, but I'm a little bit nervous about even getting onto the hill because of the low approach angle on this thing. We'll give it a shot. I just wanted to do a little intermission here and talk about some of the vehicles I have coming up. The first one is this Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro. This is a 2020 and it should be a good one for you guys to see. It's a really fun, capable vehicle. Next up is the all-new for 2021 Chevy Trailblazer. It was a fun little vehicle, compares maybe to the Kia Seltos, and it's probably about a month out before you see that. After that is a Mercedes GLB 250, which is a nice difference from the normal AMG trimmed vehicles we get, and this one was quite fun to test off-road, and it surprised me a little bit because of the GLC that I had before. Following the GLB, we've got a Ram 2500 with the 6.4 liter Hemi. This is the Laramie package, and it was a really fun one to test. It's not the hardcore off-roader power wagon, so it was good to see what this one's capable of. After the Ram is the most expensive vehicle I've ever tested. It is this Mercedes GLS 63 AMG, and because it's so low and everything's so expensive on this one, I did a little more sound testing and a little bit less hill climb. Another fun one to test. And on the same day that I had that Mercedes, I had this GMC Sierra 1500 AT4 with the Duramax diesel engine. Moving on to the Ford Expedition. This is the first time I've actually tested an Expedition, even though this one's a couple years old. This is a 2020 model, but this style came out in 2018. It was another fun test to do. After that, we will have a Titan XD. This is not the Pro 4X version, it's the Platinum version, so it doesn't have the locking rear differential. Another one to see how well it can do on a hill climb without having that rear locker. And the final vehicle that I have filmed but not yet posted is this 2020 Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport. This one was the SEL Premium all-wheel drive with the VR6 engine. Back to the CX-30, here we're in normal mode, and you can see there's a lot of wheel spin before it starts applying the brakes, but it did transfer power to the rear almost immediately. There's very little slip on the front, if any, before the rear wheel started slipping. So that's a really good sign that the all-wheel drive system is able to transfer power front to rear really quickly, and then side to side is obviously controlled by the brake system. And in normal mode, it just struggled a little bit. Even at high throttle, it wasn't able to make this climb. In sport mode, it seemed to have even a little bit more aggressive braking than in normal mode on the spinning wheels, but it still struggled to make the climb and ultimately wasn't able to do it. Just not enough power transfer side to side. In off-road mode, you can see how quickly it breaks the spinning wheels. It stops it multiple times, the wheel that's there in the air, and able to transfer the power where it needs to be. Makes this climb a lot easier than I expected, as all the other modes it really couldn't actually make this climb.
Alright, so a little bit about this all-wheel drive system is it has a clutch pack right there. It's very common these days. And look how flat that is underneath, which is great for off-roading, but that's more of an on-road design feature. You can see how little articulation there is there. I'm actually kind of scraping on the front, so I'm going to have to back off there. But yeah, this thing is pretty low to the ground and uses just that standard multi-clutch controlled electronically on the rear axle. The side-to-side control is done through braking only. No limited slip differentials or anything.
Mazda claims that their all-wheel drive system is predictive, meaning that it will sense when it needs all-wheel drive and start transferring power to the rear wheels before wheel slip on the front ever occurs. And it does this by monitoring 27 different sensors, things like your accelerator pedal, the brake force, power steering, your windshield wipers, transmission, powertrain. All these different modules are constantly being monitored. And when it senses that it needs to activate the all-wheel drive system, it will go ahead and do that, start transferring power before you even sense that the front wheels start to slip. So it's a really good system. In our testing, it actually did really well with that. A lot of times we'd never notice front wheel slip at all without a rear wheel slipping at the same time. And on road and for bad weather driving, this means that you get a really quick response time, and it should prevent anything before it actually happens, whereas a lot of other systems are reactive. So the front wheels start to slip and then it engages the all-wheel drive, but sometimes that can be too late, costing you either traction and making it up a hill, or possibly even causing you to slide, off the road or whatever it may be. Whereas the predictive all-wheel drive system from Mazda should help minimize those type of events, because it will engage the all-wheel drive before the incident occurs that causes an issue. Here we are in normal mode again, this time on the steep hill climb, and as expected from the previous test, it really doesn't make it very far in normal mode. Moving on to sport mode, we get a little bit better results in this mode, but really it doesn't make it that much further up the hill, pretty much gets stuck in the same spot. And that, of course, leaves us with off-road mode. And in off-road mode, I tried to start out in that same spot, and you can see it gets really close to making it. Eventually I do have to back off and change lines in order to make it up the hill. So basically I'm shifting from the hard line over to the easy line in this, and the CX-30 can make the easy line. The hill is so torn up right now that I'm still at risk at sliding sideways and hitting a rocker panel on a pretty hard rock. I have since cleaned up the hill so we can do a little bit better testing, but in this particular test there was still a big boulder there on my left-hand side, your right-hand side, that caused me to stop right here.
Couldn't do the hard line. The easy line is not so easy anymore. I could make the easy line. It has the torque to do it. I'm a little bit nervous. Like I said, this thing's so low I don't want to slide, but do know that it can make the easy line. It has enough power torque to climb this hill. It is a 6-speed automatic, not a CVT, so you've got that going for you. And yeah, that'll be about it. Thank you for watching Engine Adventures review of the 2020 Mazda CX-30 all-wheel drive. And really is a great car for driving on road. It's amazing, does super well. Off-road, as you can see, struggles a little bit, but I mean, it's about on par with some of the other ones like the RAV4 and the Subarus. I had no worries about overheating the transmission here, no CVT to worry about, but it does have the clutch on the rear end that is a little bit of an issue. It can slip, cause overheating eventually. So anyway, off-roading, not its forte. Can do quite a bit though, get you to where you need to be. It's more of a all-weather vehicle and excellent on-road driving city vehicle. It just does so good around town. The balance is perfect, and really enjoyed this vehicle. Thanks for watching. If there's other tests you want to see, other vehicles you want to see, I do have a lot of stuff coming up, but if there's stuff you want to see specifically, let me know. I'll see if I can find one, if I know someone that has one, or if it's in the media fleet, of course. And have a great day.